Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, near or far, high or low. Welcome back to the Coach D podcast, where today's guest is someone who is really making a real impact on and off the court. Coach J is a former college hooper who spent the last 5 years dedicated to training and mentoring the next generation of female athletes. She's been running camps and coaching in high school teams to co-own Envision Basketball Academy in Denver, Colorado. Coach J is all about helping the young women unlock their full potential. She's passionate, experienced, and truly committed to the growing of the women's game. So we're going to dive deep into her approach to skill development, the overlooked fundamentals that every young hooper needs to hear. So please, listeners, give a warm welcome to Coach J. Appreciate you, Coach.
Hi, wow, that was one of the best intros ever. That was so awesome. I thought I was about to go out in a lineup, like starting five. Awesome.
Honestly, appreciate you,
Thank you
Coach,
for
man.
having
And I mean,
me.
before we even absolutely always, and just before we even get started on just kind of what you've built, like how was your physical and how was your mental? Talk to me.
Yeah, no, I'm doing really good. God is kind, and that's what gets me through the day for sure. But it's one of those things, the cliche thing, like when you do what you love, I really think it gives me energy. There's been so many times where I enter into the gym and honestly, I'm not having it that day. Something went wrong, or I'm tired, or I'm sad, or there's something. And like one of the girls walks into the gym, and it's like I forget that I even had any of those negative emotions. So, I'm doing really good. It's like
Mm,
anything, summer ball's about to start. So it's like, okay, changing schedules up. Who wants to train at this time? And trying to get a new flow. So I think every quarter there's always a new flow. So we're just trying
right,
to figure that out.
right. Right. And just kind of starting with the introduction and just the background, which I always find like super intriguing, at least on my side. Starting from the beginning, what was your basketball journey like? I really hope I'm saying this right, just doing my research, because I believe you started at Olivia Nazarene. Am I saying that right?
All of it, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So like what was it like starting that basketball journey there and then Southern Eastern University, and how did that shape the coach you are today?
Totally. Yeah. So those were the two places I played college basketball at. So obviously the journey started way, way, way before that. But I would say like
Right.
those 4 years were extremely pivotal in my career. I mean, one, it taught me a lot too on how
Mm,
to guide my players in the recruiting process and
right.
what to look for in colleges and whatnot. But it also taught me a lot of resilience. It taught me a lot of like, again, my story and why I coach is that basketball was an idol for me. It was something that I only found my identity in. And when the uncontrollables
Mm,
happen and I can no longer find my identity in the sport, what do I look to? Which again was a big catalyst for my faith as well. So yeah, I would say like those were big moments. And then also too, I saw coaches that impacted me in a positive way and coaches that didn't. It was a very negative experience. So for me, as a coach, it
mm,
inspires me to not be the negative, for the players and to be the positive and take the good and the bad and try to help my athletes with that and be a comfort space for them as well. Because it's not just about how they produce for me on the court or what they do on the court. That doesn't matter at the end of the day because at the end of the
right.
day, basketball is going to get it's done at some point. You're not going to play it forever. Even all
Yes.
these WNBA and NBA stars, like they're going to be done at one time. So just kind of really inspiring them and impacting them that they matter first as young women, and then it's cool that they have a passion for
Mm,
basketball, and I want to foster that.
right. And I think one thing I like is I was there was a clip that you posted on your Instagram, and it was so true. Like with you was kind of think there was a girl, she was coming downhill, and then you kind of paused there and was like, why are you going between? Like you want to change speed, change direction. And you was being real. You were like, listen, I'm not like I don't do drills that look sexy. Like I do drills that are practical. I want you to imagine that defender that's in front of you and how you're going to get past them and score, and just kind of relaying it back to what you were saying, I think being a coach is definitely, like you said, you was going through a lot of experiences where you learned from what great coaches gave you and how you're going to carry that on with your players and make it your own, but also what some coaches kind of neglected you of or didn't do such a good job of. So kind of bringing it back to that, Coach Jay, like what were some of the things when you kind of look now, when you was like a young player, what was some of the habits that the great coaches were doing, and what was some of the not favorable habits that some of the bad coaches were doing, would you say?
Yeah, the first thing that comes to my mind is that the coaches with good habits were fair. And when I say fair, I don't mean they gave everyone the same amount
Mm,
of playing time. They, were whatever, equal in that sense. It was whether I respected or I should say agreed or disagreed with their philosophy or how they coached or them calling a play at that time or subbing me out or subbing someone else out, whether I agreed or not, I still respected them
mm,
because they had a backbone and they
right.
were fair. They were accepting to conversation, they were upfront, and you could tell that they cared versus like some of the other coaches
Mm,
that I
mm,
didn't respect was they weren't fair. They cared more about stats and numbers and what it looked like on paper. And when I say
yeah.
stats to status, and really like caring more about the outside instead of the inside. And the biggest thing I have learned as a coach, I'm a coach's daughter as well. And one of the biggest things I learned is like, I want my players to run through a brick wall for me because the best coaches I've had, I would do
Yeah.
anything for them. I would fight tooth and nail for them. So when I am getting coached by someone that I honestly could care less to defend, that says something because if I don't want to defend you, then I don't care about what you draw on the board. I think it's stupid. Whether that's right or wrong for me to think
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
that's just
Yeah.
the picture that's being built. And I see that with
Right.
a lot of players on a lot of teams. It's just like, well, I'm stuck. I'm here. Yeah, my coach is okay. I don't really respect them, but it's my only option really right now. And so that's like the biggest thing that I've taken from it. Like you don't have to agree with me on a play call or a sub, or maybe I teach a skill a little bit different than you've been taught. But at the end of the day, like I want you to know I care about you and what I'm doing is for you. Um, and there's fairness and I want there to be respect. So that's what I would say.
So I'm super curious now, Coach Jay, like, because I feel like in every single sport, there's that moment whether you make that game winning three or you get that steal or that block, or the crowd is saying like overrated, and you just like make a three in their face and you kind of silence the crowd, like the game really slows down, like. So for yourself, Coach Jay, like when was that moment for you when you realized that you was nice at basketball?
Man, I think the thing is I've always had the mentality, whether I was the best or the worst, like I'm going out and I'm competing. But I will say, like,
Love that.
probably I went through a really weird, hard sophomore year of high school, but I would say my junior year and then my senior year of high school, I really was like, oh, okay. I found it, and like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, like
Yeah.
previous to that, like I always was one of the main players, but I'm small. I'm 5'3". So imagine me as a fifth grader. I was probably, I don't even know, 4'10", if that, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like I knew I was very, very confident in my ball handling abilities and my decision making. So, because I just worked on it all the time. So I knew, like, I always
Mm,
had this thing, like, I'm going to be the best ball handler on every court I step on. To me, I didn't care if I scored 20 points or I
mm,
scored two, right? I was like, I want to be the best ball handler
yeah.
and the best decision maker. And I really love being a point guard. So I owned that. Honestly, I think I owned it my whole career, but I will say
Love
as
that.
a whole, as a player, as scoring ability, as the long game, all the work since I was this age to this age. Really, I felt I came into that my junior, senior year of high school for sure. And then honestly, I'm going to be super honest. My college career wasn't the best in the sense of I was sick. I dealt with a lot of mental health
Okay.
stuff. I dealt with a lot of politics in sport. So my college career, I felt like was just like kind of not my favorite. But the time I felt like the
Hmm.
most free in my whole career was my senior year of high school and when I played intramurals. Like literally, I'm not
Wow.
kidding.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I played with guys. It was when I stopped playing. It was after my career was done, but I played the most free after that because I had a little lull period. But yeah, I would say that.
Incredible. Okay. That's interesting, to be honest. And like, you just even like sparked another thought now, like, because I'm always curious when players make that transition from player to coach, especially in the women's game. And I mean, for me, I've been fortunate enough to be coaching basketball for 14 years now. I mean, I started in 2008, and I actually started with the like being heavily involved in girls and women's basketball. So for yourself, coach, like what sparked your passion for coaching and player development, especially with young women?
Well, I would say like I'm a coach's daughter. I've had my cousins have played at high levels. I had a cousin in the NBA. So like I always like saw that in front of me and my dad I've seen him coach
Mm,
athletes my whole life and I literally loved it. I was in every session whether I was doing it or not. I got to learn a lot. Um
yeah.
but when I stopped playing college basketball, I legitimately thought it was over. I was like, okay, I served my time with basketball.
Mm,
I'm done. I'll coach maybe if my kids want to play one day, I'll coach their rec team. But yeah, I thought basketball was going to be a part of my whole life and it's just not anymore. And I was a film major, so I was like, okay, I'm just going to
mm,
dive into my creativeness and in the film world and I gave basketball a good run. So whatever, let's move on type of thing. And then it was around COVID was
right.
when, was my senior year. And then I started working for, PGC, Point Guard College. I went to their camps growing up, but I was they called them, I can't remember
Nice.
what they call them, like a playmaker or something, but it was on the phones. Like I just was helping remote
Okay.
on the phones, get kids into camps. And then COVID happened, they laid us off because there's no camps. And my dad was like, why don't you do a course online? And I'm like, why would
Hmm.
anyone want to train with the girl who quit basketball? Like that was legitimately my thought. And again, it's a huge part of my testimony. The Lord gave me
Mm,
back basketball.
yeah.
He said, you're going to use it for my glory. And I said, okay. It was obedience and I did it and never looked back
Hmm.
since. So, and then again, I think that because of my struggles with mental health
Wow.
in sport towards the end of my career and identity and where is that place, the Lord was very specific and a lot of my first clients were young women in the
Hmm.
ages that psychologically you're developing your identity and you're forming your identity and you're trying to figure out where you belong. So that is how it got started and
Right.
that is how like the age group it wasn't me. Like I literally was asking the Lord, I'm like, do I go to the college route? Do I go high school? Do I go where do you want me? And he was just very clear that I was going to be in like the middle
Hmm.
school, high school
Yeah.
route. And then now, I do coach college athletes now and I coach athletes. We're prepping a lot of athletes as they're entering into their college, journey now, but that's how it got started.
Right. Right. Okay. And just even with that, and that's one thing, to be honest, that I think drew me even more to your Instagram is just you are someone who is led by purpose, but also led by faith, which is huge, especially just not when times are good, but in times of challenge, whether it's in times of turmoil, like the importance of having a support system, family, friends, and faith goes such a long way. And I mean, you kind of even mentioned it there, like you've coached many players, and you've trained players from, you know, as soon as they can walk to like college level. So what's the biggest mindset difference you see at each level, would you say?
But yeah, I mean, geez, I mean, it's just kind of like you start to see when players are taking it really serious, and like when they say, "I love basketball," you really get to see, okay, like what does love mean to you? Like, does love mean I'm going to sacrifice everything to be good at this sport, or
Mm,
is love that you just enjoy being on the court? I think either one is great. It's just like you start to see that, and then it's like I start to
right.
then it changes. Not, I wouldn't say it changes how I coach or how I bring energy, but it changes the approach in the sense of like, okay, cool, like I know that this player I need to get on more or be a little bit more like, hey, you're better than that. You know what I mean? Like you're being lazy right now. Like, come on. Versus like the player that
Yeah.
genuinely finds
Yeah. Yeah.
basketball as a safe
Yeah.
space and a fun space. And I'm gonna get on them because I think that I don't want anyone to do things out of excellence, but I also know that I don't need to push them as much or as tough or push them in different areas or learning the
Right.
girls. Like, does this girl like it if I'm like vocally stern with her, or maybe she doesn't respond to that, she responds to a
Mm,
high five, or she responds to, I need to pull her over to the side during a water
mm,
break and talk to her, versus kind of calling her out in front of everyone. And also too, just again, like
yeah.
your skill sessions are going to look a little bit different as your middle school group versus the girls I'm prepping for college. So just constantly switching back and forth between that is something for sure.
And it's the beauty of, I would say, being a coach. Like you really get to, especially when you know your players, as soon as they walk on the gym, you can tell, okay, this person needs some inspiration, motivation. Okay, this guard, she's feeling good today. So I already know she's giving out high fives. Okay, she can lead the warm up. Like you really got to be very present in the moment. You've got to read body language, and you said it beautifully, coach, just with regards to how you speak to one player will be different. And I believe it's Coach K that said, you don't change what you communicate, you change how you communicate. And even just looking at your Instagram, you can see that you are really kind of zoned in, and okay, with this player I'm going to speak like that, this player different ways. So I love that, coach, honestly love that. And kind of just speaking about the skill development and the training philosophy side, like what's your approach to skill acquisition for young female athletes, and how do you balance repetition with decision making?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, I think like the approach is always like game principle. And it's like, again, kind of like that clip you said, it's like, I can
Mm,
do all these cool, fancy looking drills that on Instagram, it looks cool. Like it looks like they're doing something. And
yeah.
I've seen many players that get good at drills. And then when I see them play, they they can't get by
Mm,
their defender. So it's like I'm like, what is the reason you coming to
yeah.
these sessions to just look good on Instagram, but then when it comes to
Right.
your highlight tape, you can't get by someone,
Sure.
you know? And so for us at Vision, it's just like very
Right.
important that game principle is the main centric of what we do. And that's why we're huge on we teach a skill, especially like in our group sessions. We'll teach a skill and then we play the skill. Right. Or if I see them being lazy, or like I challenge them a lot. Like even if the
Mm,
question is so simple, like it is a very common sense, like someone who just started playing basketball can answer this question, I still ask it because I want them to
right.
fully understand what's happening, right? If I go, I don't know, you do a jab step, one dribble through your legs, but like, and then it's a shot, but I shoot right where I went through my legs, is that doing anything for me? You know, like, but probably
Details,
not,
love that.
because
Yeah,
why did I
exactly.
go? And then I challenge them.
Yeah.
Challenge them. Why did I go through my legs? Well, because the defender bit on my
Mm,
hand. Okay, cool. So if I go through my legs because they bit and I shoot at the same spot, I think they might block your shot because they're not that far out of position.
yeah,
Versus I go through
exactly.
my legs and I create separation into my shot, then I have it, right? Or, we teach a lot of punch dribbles. So it's like I might be driving, punch dribble. Yeah, your punch dribble, you're shooting primarily in the same spot. But why? Because the defense flew by you, because they're cutting you off. Right. So it's like we're really trying to hone in on why we do the skill, not just because I want you tired, I want you sweating. When parents walked in, it physically looked like you got a good workout in, but like we actually really accomplished nothing. So that's where it's like reps like that are very important to us when we teach, because at the end of the day, like that's what's going to
Yeah.
translate to the game. And then playing a lot of 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3 type of stuff, but breaking it down. Like I'm not afraid to like stop them in the middle of their play, or stop them in the middle of after they scored or whatever, and like reading the game, and those kinds of things. That's how we really approach it, and I approach it in our skill development sessions.
Right. And you just said it there, like it's the drill doesn't make the player, the understanding does, if that makes sense, and you just put it there, like we're not here for you to be a drill warrior, or like you look good in the game warm up, but when it gets to an actual real life game scenario where you're being double teamed, or they're hedging, or they're icing a certain way, or their help defense is rotating, you need to be able to make those reads. So for yourself, coach, like what are some fundamentals that you believe are often overlooked in today's player development culture?
Totally. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily overlooked, but I think ball handling is one of the biggest things you do. Like, I believe that ball handling and footwork is the foundation of basketball. Everyone wants to say, yeah, well, you put the ball through the hoop, that's how you win. Well, yeah, sick. But if I can't handle the basketball, or my footwork is crap, I'm not going to get my shot off, right? Like, I
True.
jab step, or I jab
Yeah.
cross step, and I travel because I pick my pivot foot up. Well, I'm not going to get the shot off anyway. I could be the best shooter in the gym with drills, but the minute I go onto the court and I can't get by someone because I'm not confident in my ball handling, or I travel every time I get it, or I'm not quick with my footwork, or powerful with my footwork, you're not going to score. Like, that's just part of it.
Right.
Like, so I would say like though, like fundamental side of things, I just don't want to look past, because that's your foundation, right? Like all these kids want to, you know, shoot these really big like Steph Curry, James Harden, Caitlin Clark type of three
Yeah.
pointers, but they can't make a right-handed layup. And to me, that's where it's like,
Talk about it. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that that's like a big thing where it's like we have to be disciplined, and I'm very real with my athletes, especially if we're working on their shot or we're not doing the cool things. I'm like, look, I understand. I've been there. This is boring. This probably sucks for you. Let's be real. Like, you probably don't like
Right.
this right now, but at the end of the day, like,
Yeah.
you're not going to be the player that you're spending the time being if you're not here working on these fundamentals and these foundations to get you to where you want to be. So I'm very real with them on that aspect. Like, it's okay to think
Right.
this sucks. Like, it probably does. It's probably boring. It is, but at the same
Yeah.
time, um,
Right.
you have to have the foundation, And so I would say that for sure. And I
Mm.
think that something that's overlooked a lot right now is that we play more than we train, or we play more 5-on-5 games than playing structured scrimmages where there's teaching through it. I think it's great to go play a live game, to go play on
Mm.
a Saturday, get a few games in. But what are you doing on
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to get better from Saturday? Not just, oh, I'm going to play Saturday and I'm going to play 5 more games next
True.
weekend, but I didn't do anything to get better this week, right? It's, I have to take these games, especially as
Yeah.
middle school
Yeah.
athletes. I have to take these games. What did I do well? What did I not do well? What are some very intentional skills that I need to work on this week to then go translate back to the game? So I would say those are big things that we're skipping over.
Right. And kind of just paint the picture, because I mean, I think for I mean, being born and raised in UK, London, we have that European approach to how players are brought up through the
which
system,
I love.
right? We spend pretty much, I would say, right, like we spend about maybe like 80% training, and the other 20% is more like games. And I was even speaking to shout out to Dan Petts. He's coaching in GB. He was saying like his experience in Spain, basketball is like a religion out there, and from Monday to Friday everyone's got their own individual workouts, just working on shooting, defense, how to guard the ball, and then maybe 1 or 2 days max out of the week, that's when they're playing. So like, what is it like, or from your perspective, Coach Jay, do you see the basketball scene getting better in terms of teams training more than playing? Like, is it becoming a bit more balanced, or does the playing still outweigh the training and development side of it?
For the club side, playing outweighs the training here. It is about, I mean, I've had multiple conversations with parents, or I've seen parents
Mm,
put their kids in 3 club teams because they need more game experience. It's like, well, your kid can't make a left-handed layup.
wow.
Like, being so honest and blunt. It doesn't matter the amount of
Mm,
games that they play. They can't get by their person,
right.
their defender. They don't have great footwork. Their ball handling confidence is not there. And they can't make a left-handed layup. But you want to put them on 8 games a weekend and they're still not getting better. Please tell me what's going on here, right? I am very much
Yeah.
so. I love how the European style or system is
Yeah.
with skill development. I am very much so like a fan. That's why the club team that I coach for, I would not be coaching for them if they took that approach. I love their approach. They're very about game principle. They're very about skill development, practicing, those kinds
Nice.
of things. We only play 2 tournaments a month. So I'm very much so like that's why I coach for them, because I stand for what they do. But yeah, when I see a 4th or 5th grader playing 6 games a weekend, but then they don't get in the gym to work on any type of skill, I'm like, what are we
Damn.
doing here? First of all, what 4th grader, 5th grader should be
Mm.
playing 8 games in a weekend? Let's first of all
Yeah, of
put that
course.
out there.
Yeah.
But second of all, it's like we're
That's a
trying
lot.
to build a
That's a
foundation
lot.
here.
Yeah.
I'm very like, yeah, I'm very against what club culture is becoming. I think it's becoming a lot more about money making and
Mm.
status than it is let's get these girls better, or men. It's on the boys' side as well. So yeah, which I know is a hot take for a lot of
Mhm.
people, but I just think like at the end of the day, like, are we really getting better? I don't know. So
True.
that's definitely
True.
my hot take.
Right. It's all good. Like, when you're training with your clubs, or even you're having some players kind of turn up for their first tryout, what's one of the first things you look at in their game?
I mean, I start right off the bat with ball handling. One, it's a great warm up, but two, it tells me a lot. I can see
Nice.
how confident you are with the ball. I can see your rhythm. I can see are you comfortable making a mistake, or are you really timid and you're going to dribble the ball soft? You know what I mean? Or where's your
Mm.
like kind of like keeping the ball on a string, like that yo-yo we all talk about. Like, do you have that? Do you not? And then that just shows me a lot, to be
Right.
honest, right off the bat on what I want to work on and skills and cues that I need to give my athletes. So yeah, I mean, I'm a big ball handling girl. I love it. So that's just like my bread and butter
Yeah.
right there.
Right. Right. And just even with that, like, what because to be honest, coach, one thing I love is you really instill confidence, and I think that's a big thing for me, because even for me when I was growing up as a player, I didn't get too many pats on the back from my coach, to be honest. Like, it was like, if I made a three, it would just be like a very stern face, arms folded. You were supposed to make that, okay, like, or like, I'll get a steal. like I didn't really get that
Yeah.
positive reinforcement as much as I would like. So when I see it in coaches and even for myself, I give high five. That was a good assist. Hey, that shot was from you because you made that kick. You saw the read. And I just see when a kid like lights up and they receive that feedback and now they're like hold on to that memory so that they start to make those decisions more consistently. So for yourself, Coach Jay, like what role does confidence building in your sessions and how do you help players build that authentically?
I mean, it's like the biggest part. Like if you don't have confidence, that then all of a sudden, like you're afraid to make a mistake. You know what I mean? You're timid.
Mm,
You don't play the way that you've been training. And basketball or the court becomes an unsafe space for you. You end up start dreading going. So like confidence is such the foundation of everything that we do. So it's like whether that's I mean, I give girls confidence in this, or try to at least, in the sense of making mistakes. I tell them, I'm like, have I ever gotten on you for making a mistake? But what have I gotten on you for is like you being lazy or you going soft or you making the mistake
there we go. Yeah.
um timid. You know what I mean? And I, like last night I was just in a session with someone, first session we've ever had. We were working on her shot and I literally told her, I said, I hope you know, I don't know how many you've made and I don't know how many you've missed. To be honest, I'm not even looking at that. Right now, I'm looking at your form. I'm looking at
That
whatever.
part.
And I
Yeah.
literally have told her, I was like, I was trying to work on her arc and get it up. I said, launch the ball as high as you can. I literally do not care if you airball it. I don't care if it hits the ceiling. I don't care if launch it. Like, so I try to give them like the openness to make the mistake and the openness
Mm,
to not be perfect because we're never going to be perfect.
yes.
And then I fix it from there. I
Yeah.
just want them to get out of their comfort zone, feel it. Okay, what'd you feel? No, there's no right or wrong answer. What did you feel? Then I can help you from that. So,
Right.
like things like that,
Right.
confidence when, like, say, like gameplay, definitely like, say they made, I don't know, let's just say it was a fast break or it was like a one more pass, and I could tell that they saw it. They saw the play development. They just passed the ball off their foot. It was a little too far, behind them or in front of them. I think it's important to say, I saw what you saw. I get it. I saw what you were trying to do. Then I correct from there. Not, what the fuck are you doing? Like that kind of thing. Like, what does that do? Or like getting mad
Right.
at an athlete for
Yeah.
missing a layup. You really think that athlete tried to miss that layup? Like, how many times have you missed a layup? Did you do that on purpose? Okay,
Exactly.
thank you. Like,
True.
like other times,
Yeah.
like, so it's like over here, like, and two, like, I don't know. To me, if you're a coach, like, you coach your own way, but like, if you're like, that's what you were supposed to do, to me, that's not fun. Like, my players just made a great
Mm,
play. I'm excited. We did it. We, whatever, whether
right.
we're
Yeah.
18-0, 0-18. We did it. Why not? Like, that's the fun part of coaching, is getting excited
Yeah.
for your players. Why would you want to be stoic and mean and whatever? Like, that's just not my coaching style.
Sure. Sure.
I think that
Yeah.
instills
Yeah.
confidence when I can say, I saw you trying to make the right play. Right then, I just got them. I just got them by saying, okay, coach
Yeah.
saw it. It wasn't yanking me out, whatever. And if the thing is the only time I yank a player out for a quote unquote mistake or a choice is when they were lazy or they were being a terrible
Yeah.
teammate. Like, that's unacceptable.
Okay.
You jogged back after you threw the ball away.
Right.
That's not what we do here. You're out, type of thing. But then I talk to them,
Right.
they go right back in, right? Or like, say there was like something
Mm,
like a play or a set or whatever on offense or defense are trying to run, and it's very crucial that they get this point across and they mess it up. I pull them out just to talk to them, draw it up, or have an assistant coach do something,
mhm.
and we send them right back in. Where it's like, no,
Right.
I'm not yanking you out because you made a mistake and you should be punished. It's, no, this is very crucial. I need you to know it. come out of the game for 10 seconds. I'm going to put you back in so that you can go do it. So those are the ways that I
Right.
approach confidence for sure. And obviously individual conversations with the athletes, talking them through things off the court, on the phone, like those kinds of things for sure. So I would say those are my big approaches.
Right. And just with on court to off court development, which I know for sure you're super big on, like, how do you teach leadership, communication, or accountability to your players outside of just drills and games?
Yeah, I mean, everything that I do is just centered in Jesus and like what he teaches us and what the
Mm,
Bible says. So I just go off of biblical principles, and I mean, I run Bible
mm,
studies with a lot of the girls, so we talk about a lot of stuff through that. Individual conversations for sure is something like really
right.
big for me. And yeah, I would say like those things for sure. Again, reminding them that they matter more as who they are than what they produce for me on the court is a huge thing.
Mm,
Very big on when they enter into the gym, like, what was the best part of your day? How are you doing? What's going on in your life? What's a fun fact about yourself? The
yeah.
first conversations aren't about basketball. Because we have plenty
Right.
of time
I
to
love
talk
that.
about that. But the first conversations are about who they are individually, how are they doing? Again, being a woman, not having many women coaches in my life, I wish I had that. So it's kind of like giving
Mm,
back to my younger self in the younger generation as well.
right. And just even on that topic, it was I must say, it was a very humbling experience for me. I think this might be the very first time I'm actually sharing this on the podcast, but I was very, very young, Coach Jay. Because how I got into coaching was I was a sports leader in high school, and I went on a trip where it was kind of like a sports festival where you kind of like try out different sports, and if you're interested in the sport, you get to try it out, and you have to volunteer like 200 hours. So obviously for me, I naturally gravitated to basketball, and I started volunteering there, but I didn't know much about girls or women's basketball until that. I think it was the third session, Coach Jay. Feeling too confident, too big for my boots. I stepped on the court, and shout out to Coach Hugh. He told me, because we was doing like a full court one-on-one drill. So I'm playing defense against Yolanda, bearing in mind that she was like an ex-Polish player, played for the Polish national team. She's on the fast break. Young, naive me, I'm thinking, I got this. She's gonna stay on the right. I'm just gonna block that. Coach, when you get crossed so bad, like she hit me with the cross. She's going left. My body's still going to the right like this. Like there was nothing I could do. And she just finished at the rim. And just like for me, that was just like such a eye opener with no, like you're for me, my status quo is you're a baller, period. Like even if a player says, no, you're good for a girl. No, we're gonna dead that conversation. She just a baller, just hands out, like a great baller can be a boy, girl, man, or woman. So for yourself, coach, like when it comes to
Yeah.
the women's game and representation, how do you see the growth of the women's game right now?
Oh, it's so positive. I mean, it's amazing where I was fortunate. I grew up in Indiana, so I got to grow up watching the Indiana Fever my whole life. And I was so like, it was great. Like I got to see
Nice.
professional women athletes perform every summer. Like, so that was incredible. And so
Wow.
for like, young girls who didn't have that growing up, like it's sad. Like, I'm like, man, but what's so cool is like, we have had
Hmm.
multiple athletes who have flown in to go watch games because we don't have one in Denver. So they've had tournaments in the areas that there's games, there's WNBA teams. So they've gone and
Okay.
took time out of their
Yeah.
day to go watch them play. On top of, again, I see so many now WNBA jerseys or college jerseys or t-shirts that the girls are wearing in sessions, or they're talking about players. They know players' names. They're following the games and stuff. So yeah,
Mm,
it's so positive and it's so up right now and it's really inspiring and I love it so much.
right. And as a trainer and a coach, because you kind of mentioned it earlier, like if you had a female coach in your life like that, I mean, you're already on such a great path, coach, honestly. But I can only imagine what that, just seeing that early representation, what that could have done for you. But I mean, as a trainer and a coach, like how important is it to have more female role models and coaches in basketball today?
I mean, it's so important. Like there's so many things as a young woman that you don't want to share with a man. That's just kind of the reality of it, you know?
Mm,
But when you see someone that looks relatable to you, you automatically open up, you know? So I think that that's like a big thing. And like, again, genuinely, like how much we care about them as young women, I think helps a lot. Because don't get me wrong, there's women coaches that other young women don't feel like they can relate to, just like the men and vice versa. I'm sure that there's like young
mm,
men growing up
right,
that like have had women coaches that they relate more to than men. Like that's not, true for all of it, but I just think like I
right.
just wonder what it would have been like if I had, well, for instance, like I did have she was a JV coach and I loved her so much. Like I could talk to her, I could give her the boy drama, I could like just talk to her about regular things, but like
Yes.
on the court, I didn't like respect her knowledge
Mm,
as much. So I think that translated
okay.
versus like I respected another coach, right? So I think like when you can have that in one package as a female, I think that that is really really important, and there's so many women out there
Right.
that have so much basketball knowledge. They just don't choose to use this as their career, which is 100% okay. But it's like there's women out there that know what they're talking about. I mean, look at all the women who played in college
Right.
and they don't coach anymore. Like
Yeah.
they obviously have incredible basketball knowledge if they got to where they were. I just think it's like, hey, like, I guess my message to women is like, you can do it. I know sports is a male dominated sport, but there's room for you and you're needed.
Right. Right. Absolutely. So just starting our Beyond the Game segment, coach, just the last few questions before we wrap up. This first one, I'm super intrigued to get your mind on. This could go the route of basketball or the route of life. The question is, what is a skill that is taught by many but only mastered by a few?
Jeez, that's a good question. I'm like trying to think what that would be. I mean, I think, jeez, I think rest. I would say that because everyone talks about get your 6 to 8 hours of sleep a night or 7 to 8, or like, hey, make sure you have a Sabbath or make sure like you have time off, you recuperate, like all those kinds of things. But I think like really truly who has mastered rest?
Yeah,
I know I haven't. I know that on my rest days,
that's
I'm
true.
still thinking about the to-do list that I have to do, or
Me
I'll
too.
watch TV, I'll get my
Me
mind
too.
off of
Yeah,
it, but I have my computer on my
yeah.
lap scheduling or getting social media post out or whatever, or I'm going to go see some friends, but like our form of rest is we're going to go to a cute coffee shop, catch up, but also do work. Am I
Mhm.
really rested? Am I really this? So yeah, I think the art of rest and recovery is something that's taught by a lot, but
Mm,
I don't think a lot of us have mastered it.
I like that one. I like that one. The last four the best piece of advice you ever received.
That my identity is not in what I do, but it is in what Jesus Christ did for us on the cross. And that yeah, I
Mm,
nothing in this world is gonna ever fulfill me but Jesus's love. And I can be the best at whatever, but at the end of the day, it's still not going to fulfill me the way I need it to be fulfilled. So yeah, just leaning into that for
mm.
sure.
And the final one, I'm gonna paint the picture real quick. There's a girl who's just found out that you've actually no, because you've already written a book or like a journal, but you've just released your second book, Coach Jay, and there's a girl who's super excited. She's gone to She's gone to her nearest bookstore and she's gone to the librarian. Yeah, do you know where I can get the second book by Coach Jay? And the librarian's like, yeah, of course. You just go up the stairs, you go to the sports section, you go to the bestseller sports section. It's on the second shelf. You can't miss it. So she's going upstairs now.
Yeah.
She's super geeked, super excited, and she grabs the book, Coach Jay. And the question that I'm going to ask you is, what would the title of your autobiography be?
Whew, that's such a good question. Um, Jeez. You're really making me think. I'm like, what the heck would that be? Such a good dang question. I'm going to be like journaling about this later. I would say, um, I would definitely say it would have to be something around the title of like redeemed or restored or something like that, just because of my faith journey for sure. And that we are just redeemed through the blood of Jesus. And I just think like that's been obviously like that's why I coach and that's such a central part of my life. So I would say it would have to be something along that line or like something about faith over fear, something about obedience, because
Yeah,
that's just like the story of my life has just been crazy faith, honestly, which is already a book title anyway, but like
right.
crazy faith, something, one of those, put it together, that would be the title. So still
Yeah,
working on that title.
yeah, right. Love that. Love that. And just before we wrap up, for those who just wanna, who've been honestly inspired by your work and they're a player who's just learning drills and they wanna keep in contact and just stay up to date with what you got going on. When it comes to the socials, Coach Jay, where can they find you?
Yeah, it's at Coach J Taft everywhere on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and then CoachJTaft.com. If you want to get in the gym and work, or if you have any questions, I've started to travel and train. So if anyone wants to do that, I would
Yes,
love to. And yeah, those are where you can find me.
absolutely. Amazing, amazing, Coach Jay. Honestly, we appreciate your time. I mean, there's just so much, so many tips that you gave for coaches, for players as well. So this is myself, Coach D, and who knows, the two-time best-selling author, Coach Jay, extremely led by faith. We appreciate you. This is us signing out.